Okay, first of all, it gives me an absolute great privilege and honour to welcome you to our partnership evenings. I just wanted to say a massive thank you to all parents, carers, community members for their tremendous support over what has been a really difficult 6 months. COVID and lockdown has, hit us all extremely hard in terms of the continuity for our students, in terms of, continuity of teaching and learning, and it has absolutely been a wonderful experience coming back to school and opening the doors again to see our pupils. We really, really have missed them. And, a massive thank you to yourselves as parents for all your continued support. We've kept in touch sometimes daily, sometimes weekly, sometimes monthly, just to make sure that, in terms of education and continuity of learning, and in terms of pastoral care guidance and support, your son or daughter has been looked after over these past few months. But we're back now, it's September, and we're looking forward, although under very different and difficult circumstances, to continuing that quality of education for all our students in Year 7 right through to Year 11, and we promise to give them the very, very best of opportunities. So I hope today, as we go through the different slides and the different presentations, that there is a wealth of knowledge that you'll take from today's partnership evening. And if there are any questions or concerns, please do not hesitate but to get back in touch with the year leaders for each specific year group, and we will only be too happy to help. Thank you again for your continued support, and I hope you find the information useful.
Good morning Year 10 parents, and welcome to our virtual partnership evening. My name's Laura Markendale and I'm the Deputy Head Teacher in the SLT Link for Year 10.
I'm Mr Michael Olsen. I'm the Head of Year for Year 10, and we have Miss Reid as well, who you all know who's the Pastoral Leader for Year 10 as well. Key dates for this year. Parents' Evening this year will be on Thursday the 18th of March. Mock assessments for all of Year 10. The first mock assessment date will be Monday the 9th of November to Friday the 13th. Second one in February, the 1st of February. The third one in April, and the fourth one in June. They're all key dates that we need to know for mock assessments.
What we'll do as well is make sure that we remind the students the week before, and we'll send out MyEd reminders.
Attendance this year is key for us. Year 10 is a really important year in terms of building the foundations for GCSE. If students are in the lower third of this pyramid, then they're really at serious risk of underachievement. We need all pupils to be in 100% of the time, and that's where we're going to have the best results for the year group.
Okay, so the expectations for Year 10 this year, as Mr Olsen has already mentioned, are attendance and punctuality. The focus this year is not wasting a single minute. We respect the academy values, and I would like to think that Year 10 are going to lead the way with that. We have high academic expectations, so each of your class teachers will keep you informed of where your students are performing academically. And the focus for Year 10 this year, and a big push, will be on marginal gains, and that will continue through the year.
Our ethos and philosophy this year is marginal gains and improving by 1% in every lesson, every single day. So whether that's behaviour, effort, attention, attendance, all of those things, all of those tiny building blocks will end up as something large at the end. I think we see the journey to Year 11 as exactly that, a journey, and we need to build every single day and make those marginal gains to make sure that they have the best outcomes at the end of Year 10.
So the way that we do that is to attend. We make sure that we're in as many lessons as we possibly can be. We do that through being present in those lessons, so the attention is on the teacher, we're sitting up straight, and we're making sure that we listen to the information that is given. We're on time for those lessons. We're organised. All students have been provided with a school planner, and we encourage students and home to use that planner as frequently as possible and keep on top of the dates. We don't waste a single minute in lessons. Lesson time is for academic study, and support will be provided outside of lessons for any other student need. We are focused in those lessons. So for example, in an English lesson, I'll be focused on the English topic at hand, not the maths lesson that's coming next. And that comes with being organised. We learn from previous mistakes, and it's absolutely okay to make mistakes. In fact, we encourage it, but what we will do is learn from them so we don't repeat them throughout year 10 and again in year 11. And we encourage others around us, because if we are encouraging each other, then we're able to save time for each other. And we're determined this year, as Sir said, lays a foundation for year 11, and the more secure it is at this point, the easier year 11 is going to be.
So a few breakdowns of key subjects here. We've got maths, English and science, which we're just going to go through, some key dates and how the papers are broken down. So maths is broken down into 3 papers. They are higher or foundation tier, and they're all an hour and a half each. Some revision strategies for maths at school. There's new resources available. You can absolutely ask your teacher at any point for help. Make sure that you bring the equipment. There's extra equipment for maths, there's calculator, protractor, those types of things. Make sure the equipment's there every single lesson. And maths have been giving out revision guides this year as well, just to help pupils. Revision strategies at home. Hegarty Maths, I know you all used it recently. Key formulas that pupils need to know, completing homework, moving away from distractions at home. Any revision guides as well that you could provide for pupils would be fantastic. And studying with another pupil, testing each other.
This is what the Hegarty screen should look like. So you'll know that if there are red bars on your student's Hegarty screen, then that means that those are the areas they've not accessed as much, so those are the areas we'd like you to promote.
Next on to English. There's 2 courses in English. There's English language and English literature. So there are 2 grades that will be awarded in English. The curriculum overview, there's, obviously as I just said, there's 2 papers. Paper 1 is 50% in language, and that is reading and writing. It's an hour and 45 minutes. And paper 2 is about writers' viewpoints and perspectives, an hour and 45 minutes again. They both add up to the all grade for English language. And then English literature, 2 exam papers again. The first one is worth 40% of the grade, and it covers Shakespeare, which is Macbeth, 19th century novel, which is A Christmas Carol, and that's an hour and 45 minutes. And paper 2 is a modern text, so we're doing Inspector Calls, and you cover 15 poems in that one, and it's 2 hours and 15 minutes.
I think it's important at this point just to recognise that there has been some changes to current exam boards for the current year 11. We're not expecting changes for year 10 at the minute, but if they do occur, then we will let you know as parents as soon as possible.
So helping your child in English is really important. Encourage them to read. I can't stress that enough. Reading is so important. Read as much as they can. Talk to them about what they're doing in English. Engage with them. What they study in, what books are they reading. Encourage them to look at websites. There's loads. GCSE Pod.
BBC Bite Size. Quizlet.
Thank you. Encourage students to talk to their class teacher. And exactly the same with maths. They're the expert in the room, and they are there to help the pupils get through this. Revision sources, sorry, for English as well. We, as an English department, have revision guides that we give out to pupils. There's Mr. Brough, there's Bite Size, as we said, Spark Notes, GCSE Pod. There's loads of videos on YouTube as well to help them revise.
And then we've got science. So there are 2 different routes through science. The first one is the AQA Combined Science GCSE Trilogy. And the term trilogy is confusing. This is a single award science, so they'll do each paper will add up to a single GCSE, so they'll have biology, physics and chemistry. Those are how the topics are laid out. Each paper is an hour and 15 minutes. And then you have AQA Single Sciences GCSE, so this is where they'll get 3 separate GCSEs. And that's how that's laid out. Each paper is 1 hour and 45 minutes, and you'll get revision guides from science leading up to the exam so that it lays that out in a more accessible way for the students. In terms of supporting at home for science, obviously the teachers, as we've mentioned for English and Maths, please get in touch. Now is the time to let us know if there are any concerns or any struggles in any areas. It's too late a week before the exams, we find it really difficult, so let us know as soon as possible any problems that you have in science. Seneca Learning is an excellent website, and that's not just for science, that's for lots of subjects, but particularly for science. There are lots of apps, as we've mentioned, the BBC Bite Size app, but there's also Quizlet and GCSE Pod for Science. Revision guides will be given to the students this year, so if you could encourage use at home, that would be great. Fair Animations is a tool that we use in classes to support students, so feel free to explore that at home as well. Knowledge organisers will be given to the students for each topic that they study this year, and we would encourage self-study using knowledge organisers, so learning the information that's on there, covering it up and trying to remember it as much as possible. There are physics equations that are given to the students and they need to learn those off by heart, so we would recommend using flashcards and testing. Exam paper practice, which will be done in school, but we might also give some students exam papers to practice at home. And teamwork. Definitely set up some buddy systems, whether that be online or in real life when restrictions are lifted, so that students can study together. And then what we are going to push with this year is lots of communication. We know how important it is that when we work together, the students, your children, succeed. So one of the things that we're doing this year is just relaunching MyEd. It's an app on your phone. Within MyEd, you'll be able to look at school information like key dates, any urgent information, for example lockdown. You'll be able to view information about your students specifically, and you'll be able to send and receive free messages from school whenever you need to contact us. You can do this for every student you've got in school if you've got children in other year groups as well. This is the screen that you'll see when you log into the MyEd app, and you can click on news and school information separately to find out things about school dinners, things about parent pay, and you'll also receive information about your child specifically in terms of their attendance, which, as we've mentioned, is a big push this year. Forms, so in order to stop receiving as many letters from school, we'll try and send as many as we can electronically, and achievements as well. We want to be able to share how wonderful your students are and the success that they manage in school. We want to be able to tell you about as frequently as possible. To access this app, you can go to Apple Store or Google Play on an Android phone, download the MyEd app, and there are a few with a similar name, so you're looking for this icon. Search for Royton and Crompton and it will come up with Royton and Crompton School. Just enter your contact details and you'll automatically be linked to our account, and then just keep in touch, let us know.
So our final message is our preparation for Year 11. Revision is key. It needs to start now. We will be teaching students how to revise in class as well, and hopefully they'll do that at home. There's online support, learn to remember, independent study is really key as well. They need to plan, they need to become organised, and now they're becoming young adults, they need to learn organisation skills. So using the planner for important notes and dates, pre-plan when they're going to study, make a timetable for that. And finally, their well-being. We know they've been off for a long time. Well-being is high on our priority list, and if any students are struggling, please come and ask for help. We've got so much pastoral support in school. Any of the heads of year, SLT Link, any of the teachers are all trained, okay? And finally, the one for pupils is just practice self-care. Go to bed a bit earlier. Don't stay up so late, and take care of yourselves. Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Mr Ogden. I'm assistant teacher in charge of climate, culture, behaviour and expectations. I'm going to take you through a bit of a PowerPoint presentation today. I know some of it might not be clear on the camera, but we'll put that on the website for your perusal, and obviously the behaviour policies on there. So first of all, we're just looking at our expectations. We expect every young person to arrive promptly for school. I know there's various bubble start times at the moment, starting from 8:30, but we do expect young people to be there and prompt on time every morning. To be fully equipped for lessons at all time, which means if they've got PE, they have the PE kit. If they've got the lessons, the equipment for the lessons, they must have a pen, pencil, a green pen for underlining, ruler, your maths equipment, your projector, and your planners, which are a working document for every lesson. To wear full school uniform at all times, that includes school shoes, skirts to be at the correct length with the Royton and Crompton logo. If we are in PE kit in these changing times where young people are coming in PE kit, that they do have the Royton and Crompton shorts, the Royton and Crompton football socks, or they are plain blue equipment. To show respect for self and others, and that goes for all staff, visitors and students, we expect staff to speak to students with respect, students to speak with students with respect, hold doors, be polite, don't drop litter, and that's something that we really expect and really drive and encourage our young people to be like. To respond positively and politely to all instructions from members of staff, At times young people will be asked to do things that necessarily they don't agree with, but we expect them to respond positively, and that those instructions will always be for the good of the learning for the whole group and that individual. To work to best of ability at all times. We're in a brand new building. To respect property, to make sure that when we're travelling down corridors that we don't touch the walls. You know, we look after doors, we make sure that we pick up litter, we don't graffiti on desks, and to encourage that community sense of team. It's like their home away from home, to make sure that we respect the building and everybody in it. To uphold the expectations within the local and wider community. You know, we're very, very proud of our uniform, we're proud of our young people, so when they're travelling to and from school, that they're representing you as parent and carers, and in our uniform they're representing those honesty, that excellence and that modelling excellence out in the community. We do have a behaviour policy that runs alongside all these expectations to make sure that young people are employable, you know, and they do understand that wherever we go through life there will be rules and there will be consequences if you step outside of those, so I'll take you through those in a second. Just a quick example of the uniform. Skirts must be knee length with the Ryder Crompton logo. Our black socks, they must have a black school shoe, a leather school shoe with no bright logos or different colours on it. Hair must be a correct colour, natural colour, and no shade patterns in it. And the PE kit is modelled that's on there as well. We operate something called Q, which is coach, uniform, and equipment. They're monitored every day during lessons. We expect our young people to have the shirts tucked in, to have the blazers on in corridors. They get 3 opportunities to make sure that's right. They have a cue card in the planner. If one of those expectations aren't met, there is a staff signature on. 3 signatures will lead to a consequence, but likewise, if there's no signatures on that, the young people get to put those into a prize draw where they get vouchers for doing the right things and displaying that corporate image, which again is preparing them and readying for that world of work. Basic expectations that we expect in and around the academy. So anywhere young people enter the building, we expect them to take the coats off and either put them in the bag or under their arms, so they're only wearing the school uniform in and around the academy. Appropriate school footwear, there's no trainers allowed at all within school. Skirt length, as we discussed before, is knee length. Our blazers have to be worn at all times. Once in classrooms, if the young people are hot and they want to take the blazers off, they ask the member of staff permission, they will always be granted that. But when we're travelling in between lessons and at break times, blazers are to be worn. School tie has to be worn. They're separate colours for different year groups to give them their identity. Hair is a natural colour. We know what the school equipment is. We provided that as a school. We expect parent carers, homes to support that, so ensure that learning can take place, and under no circumstances there are no false nails or nail varnish to be allowed in school. Just take you through the behaviour system. If young people make the right decisions and they put the learning first and they follow instructions, this will never ever apply to them. They will only ever be rewarded in school. But if we're very, very big on that teachers have to teach and learners have the right to learn, and nobody in this school has the right to stop another young person or a group of young people learning. And if that is the case, then we do operate a C1 to a C4 behaviour system. C1 is a warning with an instruction and an expectation of what the young person has done wrong, some take-up time for them to improve. Again, for a C2, that's in effect a final warning to allow that young person to focus and put the learning first. If they reach the next stage, so they're disrupting learning or there's a serious one-off incident, there is something called a C3 removal, which that young person will then be exited from lesson and will be educated in time-out within their year bubble. At which point that will be investigated by the year team. Depending on the seriousness of that, they might go then back into their lesson and continue for the day, or they might be taken out and educated in a period of reflection. Parents will always be contacted, and most of the time there will be a phone call to have that discussion with parents about working together as a team to make sure that our young people are modelling what's done at home and they put the learning first in our lessons. C4s are a serious incident, which are a serious breach of the behaviour policy, and they can be dealt with either internal exclusion, a period of learning at another school, or in extreme circumstances, an exclusion from the school, a fixed term. Okay, detentions. If a young person is removed for disrupting learning or other areas of a C3, then they will operate a detention after school that day. The detention will be for a period of an hour. If a young person occurs more than one C3 in a day, that can equate to an SLT detention, which is an hour and a half. Detention cut-off point for the same day detentions is 2 o'clock. You'll receive a text message that will be sent home to notify that your young person will be in detention that night. There's strict rules in that. They will be in their certain bubble detentions across their bubble within school. They have to be sat up in silence, and if they've got homework, they can do their homework, otherwise we will provide work for them to complete. Can you skip that, please? Okay, just moving on to your mobile phones, just to make it sure to everyone. We know that every young person in this academy will have a mobile phone, and we understand as parent or carers that it's essential for young people to have mobile phones travelling to and from the academy for safety, to get in touch with them. But as soon as they enter our doors, we expect that phone to be turned off, switched off, zipped in a blazer pocket or placed in the bag. As we touched on before, the reason for that is that we expect, when we're in school, for them to develop the manners, to develop the social. We don't want them texting on phones, but we also want them no distractions from the learning. We expect every young person to maximise that learning time and put the learning first. If a young person does get the phone out, it will be confiscated, it's held in the school safe, and we will contact you for a convenient time for you to come and collect that. Punctuality, again, the most important part of lessons at times are that introduction and that beginning, which allows people to understand their outcomes and objectives and the success criteria about where they're going in that lesson. Every young person to get anywhere within this building within 3 minutes, but we do have a cut-off time of 5 minutes. If you're late for school by 5 minutes, or if you're late for a lesson by 5 minutes because they've not been proactive enough on the corridors of getting to where they should be, that we do allocate a late mark, which will also allocate a late detention, which is an hour after school that day. Rewards, we operate quite a fast reward system from R1 all the way to R5. Every student has the opportunity to meet the focus of the week, whether that be listen to the person who's talking or meeting that criteria. They get an R1 every lesson. Students are able to get an R2, which is going above and beyond, an excellent piece of homework, being a great community citizen, and then there's also students at start of the week which are voted through by members of staff. So every member of staff will put through somebody who's gone above and beyond or made the correct amount of effort or gone out of their way to show improvement on work or community or manners or honesty, excellence, aspiration, and they will get a certificate every week. Moving forward, when we will be allowed, which will hopefully be sooner rather than later, we also offer R5s and rewards trips to various places. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Miss Jacob and I'm going to talk to you about how as an academy we want to improve communications with you, the parents. We know that sometimes emails may get stuck in the junk boxes, maybe sometimes texts don't get through. So what we really need is your help and support in downloading the MyEd app. It's really, really simple and easy to do, but what it means is that you will be constantly updated on how your child is doing, what their attendance is and what their behaviour is. So the positives to this app are it allows you information to keep up to date with what's going on. We will send all messages to you via MyEd. It lets you look at key information for your students, for your children, and what they are doing and how they are behaving. It also means that you will get free messages to school, but also from school, but also you can send us messages and they will be picked up. So what we do, and this is what it will look like, it will give you an attendance. So for example, this student here has come to 95%, and that's uploaded and updated every single day. It will tell you about all the forms that need to be filled in and all the parental student questionnaires that we need your support on, but also how your child is doing, because every lesson they get given a grade and that will be updated so you can see again how well they're doing and have those conversations with them. So to get this MyEd app, it's really simple. You go to your app store, you download the MyEd app, you search for Royton and Crompton, you enter your contact details, and it's as simple as that. So please help us to improve our communications. Please download the the MyEd app, and let's make sure that our communication lines are really good, up and running, and are open at all times.
Okay, so just to say, finally, thank you for, spending the time this evening to go through each of the presentations. I hope you found all the information useful, and if you have any questions whatsoever, please do not hesitate to keep in touch. This is your school, it's the school, and that we promise to deliver a quality of education and enriching experiences for your son and daughter, and therefore your voice does count. So please stay in touch, and as I said earlier in the presentation, contact heads of year or the senior link for each year group, and we will only be too happy to help. Thank you.